All right, this is to go along with my other video on autoimmune and what it is. If you haven't seen that video already, I highly suggest you watch that where I go over and explain what is autoimmune and what exactly is going on with your body and what you can do about it. But in addition to that, and this what I'm covering in this video really applies to kind of handling any kind of health condition or improving your health. One of the biggest factors, one of the primary problems, or the biggest things that cause inflammation and just health issues across the boards is stress. Stress, lack of exercise, and lack of sleep. These things and lack of sunshine. These things wreak more havoc than I could really emphasize. I can't even emphasize how much it is a big problem. If you're sedentary, if you're sitting in front of a computer all day long, if you're not getting enough exercise, and if you're not sleeping well, these things are going to cause problems. Particularly and especially if you're under a lot of stress throughout the day, stressful relationships, stressful places in the workplace, situations in the workplace, financial stresses, whatever, you name it. We've all experienced it. These things can cause directly contribute to disease, illness, and things breaking down in your body. So in addition to changing diets, getting toxic things out of your environment, i.e. toxic chemicals, the things you cook with, the things you eat with, scented candles, perfumes, colognes, these heavily perfumed things, laundry soap, like all those things that I mentioned in the autoimmune video. All of those things can absolutely contribute. They're endocrine disruptors, meaning hormone disruptors, and can contribute to toxic overload on your body. So in addition to that, you need to give focus and emphasis on getting enough sleep and keeping to a consistent schedule. Now, that is always easier said than done. And I talk from absolute experience on this, and I've been there and I empathize. I mean, in my younger years, I would very frequently stay up late, if not around the clock, to work or finish deadlines. When I was in college, I did a lot of late nights to juggle college and, also I was working full time too. I mean, yes, we can, especially in our ambitious moments, take on way more than we can comfortably handle. And consider that maybe your sleeping habits and your eating habits get the back seat. But also talking from experience, that catches up. And you will soon realize that if you are going to get where you want to go in life, you have to take care of your body. There isn't, you're letting yourself down by and everyone else by not taking care of your body. You might think that sacrificing yourself for your children and your work is the better thing to do. But what happens when their mom or relative or sister or wife is sick and incapable? Are you really helping them to do that to yourself? Do you see what I'm saying? So really, you have to take care of yourself. You are the most important person in the world in that way, and you need to treat yourself that way, because when you are doing well, you are going to be better able to help everyone else, and you're going to be better at your job, and you're going to be a better spouse, you're going to be a better parent, a better sister, a better friend, a better brother, whatever the scenario. You will be better at dealing with your life when you are doing okay physically and when you are healthy. So sleep is something you can't underestimate and you cannot sacrifice, especially if you are already sick. But to avoid getting sick, I really highly recommend you do prioritize sleep and make time for that. The other thing is one thing that can help if you're having autonomic nervous system issues or just general stress is breathing. So actually, breathing exercises are very good for autonomic situations or just stress in general. All you're doing is you're just getting your sympathetic nervous system, your autonomic nervous system balanced between your heart and your lungs, etc., and it calms the body down. There's different ways you can do it. 4-6-8 is one datum. You can do, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. There's various ones you can do, and there's apps you can find on Apple to help you with breathing exercises. I know from having had autonomic and having to manage and deal with and improve my autonomic nervous system from Hashimoto's and autoimmune attack. My HRV crashed at one point, and it was very low, and I was having constant tachycardia episodes. And one of the things that helps me to kind of overcome that was sleep. Was like a major importance in that. I had to stop just working late, like, and start giving myself more time to sleep. And also breathing. Breathing definitely helps to just calm down, and it helped with my sleep patterns, etc. So you fit it in however you can. Like for me, I'm very busy. And yes, I try to emphasize health and all that jazz, but like you, I have a life and I've got other responsibilities. So I just do it 15 minutes before I go to bed. So when I get in bed, I lie down, I do my breathing, and I go to sleep. I have not been able to manage to do more than that because there's just too much going on during the day. But if you can do more, great. And like I said, just do anything, it will help. Get walks, okay? That's the other thing. Exercise, move your body. So your whole body at the cellular level, organ level, tissue level, all the way up to the whole body, like there's energy flows happening all day long throughout the whole thing. And you can kind of liken it to a waterfall, if you will. As long as the waterfall is going, the water stays clean, things are moving, energy is produced, etc., etc. But the second you sort of just sit down and just stay stagnant forever, things can build up. The body has more difficulty moving things around. Digestion suffers. The lymphatic system, i.e., your system that keeps water from building up and substances from building up in certain areas of the body, start breaking down. Everything just kind of drags down. So, like, it's very important that you move physically. All like you have to move every day for a certain amount of day. I recommend at least 30 minutes a day, and that is being a little bit nice, I think. I think it's important that you do exercise as well and move more than that, to be honest. And like if you're working at a desk, get up frequently. I know sometimes that is easier said than done. If you're in the middle of something, it's a thought process and it's like a cycle and you have to stay concentrated or you have to start from scratch. I've been there, I have that kind of work. So good. If you have like a 3 hour stint where you just have to stay focused and sit down and that's it, lock in, fine. Maybe it's 5 hours, fine. But after that, get up and go take a 30-minute walk or get up and like, work around your life and work around your situation because obviously everybody's lives are different, but just see how you can fit it in practically because the more practical it is, the more you'll be inclined to do it. But the important thing is no matter how you do it, the important thing is that you do it. The other thing is that you get exercise. So exercise is like, is definitely very important. I mean, our ancestors did not sit on their butts in front of a screen all day. Not only is it unhealthy because you're sitting all day, which is not good for your butt muscles, your back, your posture, or anything. But on top of it, it's not good for the whole system because it just, as like I said a minute ago, everything sort of stagnates. On top of the fact that you're exposed to blue light full time. So your circadian rhythm is like taking a beating. So exercising, getting out, moving your body, keeping the muscles. I mean, move it or lose it. That's sort of, I don't know if you've heard that saying, but it's true. The more you move your body, the more you use it, the more you work it, the healthier you're going to stay longer. It just helps across the boards. Get sunshine, okay? Sunshine, yes. I mean, that's also kind of easier said than done, depending on where you live, right? And depending on if you're in your office all day long. But like, go outside, get sun. Go take a walk outside, go get some fresh air. Anything, just anything is better than nothing. I know some people do red light therapy and stuff. I have done that, but I haven't really stuck to it, but it might be fine. That might be what you need to do if you're not able to get a lot of sunshine and you think that will help, go for it. Maybe at some point I'll be a red light therapist, guru as well. I don't know, but I've not gotten into it personally, so I can't speak for it. But yeah, grounding, going out and standing in the grass. I have done that. I do that. I recommend it. Like go do some gardening, go do some house cleaning, go do some work outside. These things are very therapeutic. one thing I think is very important is that you do some physical work sometimes. Like I said, gardening, do some renovations project, go outside and like work on your landscape or your gardening or something, or go build something as a hobby. I think it's very important to balance the just sitting around all day and do some actual physical work around the house, or and particularly and especially outside with the grass and nature. Again, very therapeutic. Um, Also, and don't underestimate it. I know we're busy, and if you're like me, you feel like you don't really ever have time for it, and it's kind of like not as important as the demands on your lines, but take some time out. Go take a break, go out for a date night with your spouse, go out to the beach with your spouse or your family. Like, make sure you incorporate some time for your family and also for yourself in your life, and don't just be all work, 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 work. And again, I'm sort of talking from experience, so if I'm preaching, I'm not meaning to, but I've been there and I've done that, and it's not healthy. So I definitely recommend balancing your life a little bit. And of course, you can't swing too much the other way. You still have to meet your deadlines. You still have to fulfill your obligations. You still have to do your job. But yeah, try to find a balance and don't put all the emphasis on one or the other, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so those are some of the main things. I also did another video on you basically need to get your cortisol down too. Keep your cortisol low. Cortisol is not, you don't want your cortisol high. Cortisol is really behind a lot of the inflammation, a lot of the hormone imbalances, thyroid imbalances. Cortisol is your number one enemy, but at the same time, cortisol is not the enemy, it's the stress in your life. We are supposed to have stress. It's actually not healthy to not have stress ever. That's very unhealthy. You have to have stress. You have to have some excitement in your environment and some threats sometimes, if you know what I'm saying. I don't mean harm, but I just mean you do need to have some stress sometimes, but healthy stress, not constant stress that just grinds you down and wears you down. So if you're having constant chronic stress, that's the problem. So you need to eliminate the things, people, toxic relationships, whatever in your situation, in your environment that's causing constant stress, because you really should never have constant stress. At the same time, you want some stress. So for example, when I take a shower every morning, at the end of my shower, I turn it to cold and I sit there for a minute. Yes, it's always, every single time. I never get used to it. Shocks me out of my skin. But boy, does it wake you up, and boy, does it stimulate the vagus nerve. So that's very healthy. Things like that. Again, red light therapy apparently does wonders for these things. So it might be something worth looking into. But I don't do like, and I don't advocate, like the 10-minute ice cold water bath, whatever, do your research. But again, you do want some stress. You don't want too much stress is the bottom line. And again, do things that make you happy. Try to do more of your hobbies, listen to music more, read more, find something that will just makes you happy, and try to do a little bit more of that within reason. For me, I like cooking and making healthy things. So when I need a break, I go and bake something that's healthy, or cook something that's healthy, or my husband and I will go out to the beach or whatever occasionally, and like just get some space and get some air. Funny anecdote. So my HRV at one point, my heart rate variability, if for any of you who don't know what I'm talking about, heart rate variability, which sort of basically measures your autonomic nervous system, so how parasympathetic or sympathetic you are. This is a true story and a personal anecdote. My HRV was crashed, which is not good. You don't want your HRV crashed. It was like 35 or 37 or something very low, like very low. For my age, it should be 60. And it was crashed, and I was having constant tachycardia episodes. My heart was just literally, it happened like 7 times in one day or something crazy, where it was just going up to 200, 150, 190, coming down. It was crazy. Okay. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. I've been eating healthy. I've been doing everything right. But the one thing I hadn't been doing at that point was exercising enough. And it's funny because when you go out of shape and then you have these problems, it's really hard to start exercising because I can't just go, I couldn't just run 10 miles out of the gate. Like I have to build back up, right? Anyhow, my husband was like, okay, we're gonna go out and we're gonna go to the beach. Okay. It was starting to become summer. I hadn't been to the beach for a long time. We hadn't taken a break for a while, probably about 7 months. We went out to the beach. I laid down on the beach, and of course, I'm in the middle of college at the time, so I didn't really just goof off the whole time. I was actually studying while I was in the sun, which was great. But it was very relaxing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We had a great day. We ate well, etc. The point is, when I came home that day and I took my HRV and I tested it, it went up to 63, which was the highest it had been. So I had been doing all these handlings. I've been doing all of these things. And the handling was to go to the beach and just like literally sit in the sun. And it worked magic. So again, I can't emphasize sun, fresh air, getting some space, changing your environment, going out, getting extroverted, getting in touch with the world, doing something different, doing something you like, getting pleasure. These things are all so crucial. And I realized in that when that happened, that it isn't just a nice thing to have, it's actually really important for your health and really important for your mental and physical health to do these things. And you will, if you're healthier, again, you can do more, you can accomplish more, you can work better, work more efficiently, work faster, get along with people better, deal with things in your environment better. Because when you're sick and when you're not feeling well, you're not at your optimum, right? All right, I hope this has been helpful. If there's anything else you want to add or anything you want to comment or anything you want to contribute or anything I missed or anything you have questions for, please leave me a comment, like and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, bye.